All right, time to get down to the Mr. GLOAT Podcast as we get down to the business of talking about the Avatar The Last Airbender Netflix show, part 4. And man, oh man, there's a lot to talk about. But guys, before we get to information right now about that, well, I do have 3 topics to talk about in this podcast. And the third one is the Avatar. So, if your viewers don't mind if the first 10 minutes of this podcast will be talking about the first couple topics of stuff that won't have to do with Avatar yet. So the information I do have, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing much simple to talk about other than me being a really upset, raging bull. I can't even talk straight because this is the worst. This is the worst. So here's the information. So guys, last week, as it is the 13th of Wednesday, so NASCAR is over. On November the 8th, Ty Majeski, for some hilarious reason, for how he won the truck race, considering I did not think he had a chance, not because his owner was Mike Curb, and I don't think that owner driver had what it take to be in NASCAR. But yeah, with Ty Majeski barely winning a couple races in the season, because, like I said before, he did won 2 races in a row, race 15 16, IRP in Richmond, which gave him a bigger playoff spot, and he barely squeaked out, running forward to the playoffs, and he dominated, leading 132 out of 150 laps to become Truck Series champ. And at this moment, I'm like, you know what? Give him a shot to be in the Xfinity Series. He finished 4th place in 2022. He did faltered in 2023, hard, barely winning 1 race. So, yeah, give him a chance. He held himself pretty good. There were some moments and behind the scenes, but yeah, good win for him. He did a good job, and he did what he had to do. The Xfinity Series, which took place on November the 9th, which is still the first topic because the first topic is NASCAR. Justin Allgaier. No way I was expecting him to become champion. I don't even think he even deserved to be champion. But considering Riley Herbst, oh boy. Considering Riley Herbst did win the finale race, and okay, well, here's the thing. Justin Allgaier did what he had to do. He led out 119 out of 147 laps to win the Darlington Race 11 race. He went into Michigan to lead up 37 out of 128 laps to win that race. And he went to the playoffs, and for surprising reasons, I was surprised that he almost messed up bad in Kansas and Talladega, because it seemed like after those 2 hard races, I was like, how is he still in the playoffs? Even when he finished 7th in the road course. But then he did better. Like, he led laps in Las Vegas, barely finished in top 10s in Homestead and Martinsville, and he finished 2nd. Like, he started 37th out of 38 cars in the race. So at the end of the day, I was like, okay, good win. I would say he had kind of deserved it. He battled his way from start to finish, and JR Motorsports did a good job. I liked it. And then November the 10th, the Cup Series got, I'm just going to get through this one. Roger Penske is now so Roger Penske has had Joey Logano to win the 2022 champion. Ryan Blaney, 2023. I didn't know he was part of Penske. I'll get to that moment in a bit. Oh boy. Like, at this moment, guys, this is hard. So, guys, after seeing the race, because I only went on to watch the second stage racing, and I was into watching the race from start to finish. Even though Joey Logano had a huge start in the early races, and Martin Truex had a good start leading laps in the race, and even before stage 1 ended and everything else, I was saying to Martin, because there's moments in stage 2 when we had drivers, because Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, non-playoff drivers, were doing a good job. Well, Kyle Larson led only like 13 laps during the time of the races, and Christopher Bell, that should have been the playoffs, was just having a time of his life, even after having 2 flop finales. And surprisingly, there was a time when I saw in the race, I was like, dude, Martin Truex Jr., you're retired from full time. Spin out Joey Logano. They didn't. And after stage 2 came to an end, and they also had an accident with Ty Gibbs in the first laps of the race, they also had driver number 71, Zane Smith, crashing with 54 laps to go. And those last 54 laps of the race, after that restart, is what changed everything for Logano winning the race, and I was pissed. The last 53 laps were bad. And guys, this is what I wrote down on my list. This is what I wrote down. Why did number 50, driver that goes by the name, driver number 50, why did Jeb Burton on lap 279 not spun Joey Logano for the lead, even though he was a lap car? To point this out, guys, I'm referring to all lap cars. Lap 280, why number 44, J.J. Yuli, not spun Logano after he passed him? Lap 281, driver 15 does nothing to stop Joey Logano. Why? In all capital letters. 283, why driver 47, you know who number 47 I'm talking about. You know the guy that ruined Austin Dillon's chance in Richmond, won the Talladega Fall race, and no one questioned him for why he spun Ryan Preece out in Richmond, costing Austin Dillon a playoff. Not do a dilly-dally thing after Joey passed him. 284, driver 51, why not stop Joey from winning? Lap 286, Michael McDowell does nothing. 20 laps to go. I'm saying, somebody stop this catastrophe, please. Lap 295. Number 7 and number 14 absolutely do nothing after both Logano passes them. And then 10 laps to go. Oh my gosh, Ryan Blaney's going to go for it. And the last 10 laps, I did not know that Ryan Blaney was catching up to him. He was just passing him by. And then there was one moment in the time when I was watching the camera behind, because they were showing cameras of Joey Logano's backside of the car, showing Blaney catching up to him. And then there was one moment that he was making a huge wide pass, and I was like, spin him out! And then I later realized, after the end of the race, I realized, oh, wait a minute, Ryan Blaney is part of Roger Penske. This race is over. 7 laps to go of the race. I was like, oh no, Logano's going to win. He's not going to spin him out. God, I hate this game. And then 5 laps to go. He's trying his best, but then Logano takes a huge advantage. And then the final 2 laps of the race, he's trying to catch up as best as he could. He makes off a pass. He makes a good wider pass. But then the final lap, he tries to make a good pass on, but Logano's not messing up. He passes for the win with a margin victory of a .330 seconds. Well, at least Ryan Blaney tried. He did good on the long run, so I can't be upset for Blaney trying. Yes, him and Logano are part of Team Penske, so I guess there's a reason why you're not going to spin him out. And then 2 days later, I called Oxford Plains Speedway, and today I just went there now to talk. I want to destroy Joey Logano's career. The same way Riley Herbst destroyed Howie Deegan's career in the spring Talladega race. Him winning the finale race does nothing. Also, guys, the second topic I like to talk about, if you give me just a few more extra minutes. Sorry for talking too much about that, but guys, like I said before, guys, the second topic I'm going to talk about quickly is that I am not going to do my, the next podcast will come in 2 weeks right now, if I can survive that long, because as we're 2 days before Amanda Serrano is taking on Katie Taylor, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, even if Amanda Serrano doesn't win this fight, the least she could do is just go up to the super welterweight division or something like that and just fight for an 8th world title division. I think she can handle what she is. She's 36 years old. She's been in boxing for a lot. She can win 3 more fights to get to 50. Even if she doesn't defeat Kay Taylor, I still respect her for what she's done in the sport. Also, guys, on the 16th of 11th, November 16th, Oscar Collazo and Themanoon Yamchuang, both unifying their minimum weight titles. I just wish best of luck for what they did. And also, another fight's going to take place in Saudi Arabia for the WBC interim worldwide title with Tevin Farmer versus William Zapita Segura. Another guy that's going to be the next Jaime Munguia and Gilberto Ramirez of Mexico. He's 31-0, 27 knockouts, 28 years old, southpaw. Man, oh man, how far is he going to make it to his golden 50 as a Mexican fighter? Also, guys, like I said before, November 23rd, I will be reviewing on my next podcast in, like I said, Heidelberg, Germany, where we have four female boxers in the atomweight division under 100 pounds, well, barely over 100 pounds, fighting in multiple belts. They're going to be unifying for the road to undisputed atomweight champion. Like I said, I'm going to follow Arnold Jaraj and Alexander Holder, if that's how they pronounce it on the internet, for their EBU European heavyweight title. So those are going to be things I'm going to talk about in my next podcast, but we're going to be 10 days away before the 23rd when that happens. And by the way, guys, November the 24th, November the 24th, I give luck to anyone else from Japan, where we have Hinata Takakura, 1-0 female from the light flyweight. I wish her best of luck taking on Nathanan, a woman from the country that's 4-1 from Thailand. Just wish this Japanese woman the best of luck to get her second win. That's all I could say. But yet again, guys, I do question to myself, do we have what it takes? This woman's, like, Hinata Takakura is 20 years old. So I would say give her just a few years to develop her career, and who knows, maybe we'll see something interesting. So that her fight's going to be interesting, and I wish her best of luck. I wish her best of luck as a boxing champion in the future. So yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and pretty much that's what it is. Just take that for what you will. Just take that for what you will. Yeah. But I will say though, guys, there is other boxing matches that we do have to worry about in December. Because like I said before, guys, December is going to be interesting in other places as we speak. Because there's enough boxing champions out there fighting in the career of boxing. And none of it, like, I really don't know what to say about the world of the middleweight division of female boxing, because it's like after Clarissa Shields left last year in 2023, no one could find who would be the greatest pound for pound in the middleweight of divisions boxing. So they brought in a 35-year-old Canadian woman known as the Whip, Melinda Watpool, 7-0, 2 knockouts, and she's now fighting for the WBO World Super Middleweight Champion. Considering she's number one in the middleweight, but they're gonna let her fight in the super middleweight because last September the 20th, she weighed 165 pounds. You were supposed to weigh 160 pounds under to box in the middleweight. And her last fight in the middleweight was back in September 9th, 2023, even 3.5 months after she was 165 pounds in her third fight. Her debut fights in 2022 and 2023 were over 160 pounds. And then she was 168.5 pounds, which should have made her in the light heavyweight fight in December last year. And these two fights she's had, so the last two fights she had in April and September were fights that she won, deservingly, barely won, were over 162 to 165 pounds. But in BoxRec, it says that she's a middleweight fighter. Makes no sense. It doesn't. She's going to take on Shadasia Green, a woman that I'm now finding is a bust. She's also 35 years old, the Sweet Terminator. I doubt it. She lost against, Franchon Cruz Dezern, which we already know how her career was. She lost last December, took on nobody in July. She's like where she is. She's at 167 pounds, under that weight of the super middleweight, so it makes sense for her being in the competition. She barely won her last fight in July. So yeah, and she's number 2 in the super middleweight. It's ridiculous. So, and that fight's going to take place in November the 15th, 2 days in Arlington. So yeah, and there's going to be nothing interested that night, but yeah, I'll be into it when we get there. Anyway, we're like 15 minutes. After being in there for 15 minutes of talking about it, oh yeah, and don't forget Mario Barrios versus Abel Ramos, WBC World Welterweight title will also be at that same time on Netflix. And also the Jake Paul Mike Tyson that same night, blah blah. Yeah. So anyway, guys, and also Kate Taylor and Amanda Serrano, undisputed, same night, same place, Arlington, Texas. Yes. And Bryce Holden is the promoter. Okay. So anyway, okay. Now, after all that talking, we finally get down to business talking about, guys, this might be for the next 20 minutes. For the next 20 minutes or half an hour, we're going to talk a lot about the Avatar because this one's going to be interesting. So, guys, I like to point this out before I get into the seriousness of it, because this is what I have to say does give me a little bit of a like to be honest, guys, as an Avatar fan myself, and I can actually I try my best trying to explain it to a lot of people over the days, and I do try my best to try to push my luck. Sometimes I overdo it. And after having barely 200 views and other people a couple of days ago, when I found the video I made called "It's Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix That Bad?" And it was just an old podcast I released about a few months ago, which I forgot to make as its separate video for part 3. And after I released it a couple days ago as making this video, I had a good amount of interesting comments. And I don't blame some of the comments people told me, whether if they're hateful comments, which I get it. Like, I understand this comment where it goes by the guy named Goku Max dash D5S. Well, his first comment was, yeah, second comment right here. I'll respect that. He also made his other comments stating, to be honest, will there be another season of Avatar next year? Well, that's what I'm trying to wonder, because I don't want to see dumb stuff like this, and I'll get to that. Also, one day ago, a guy named Captain Spiderfan 19 replied in all capital letters, "No, it's a great show, just like Avengers, EMH, and Persona." Okay, what's Persona? Like, I know what Avengers and EMH is. I know what that is, but I don't know what Persona is. So I'm gonna have to look that up a lot more. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to look up what Persona is. Persona. Let me see. I think I know what the Avengers is and such, so I know that. I don't get me wrong. I do love Avengers and the EMH, so I do love that, which is good. So it is a good thing just for the fun of it. Uh, a Persona video game series? Huh. Wait, Persona. Wait, Persona's not a movie? It's a. No, I thought it was a franchise movie. It's just a series or something. It's like, wait, let me look up on Wikipedia. It says it's like Persona, the logo of Shin Megami Tensei Persona, the remake of the first game in the series. Each game uses its own font and style. What type of video games do they make? Persona, Innocent Sin, Eternal. Oh, oh, this. I actually been a long time since I remembered this. Yeah, I have heard about this anime game. I have remembered this. Okay, yeah. Persona. Okay, so yeah. Oops. Forgot it was a video game he was talking about, not a movie. Well, let me see what type of stuff they have here. It's interesting. Like Persona 2, Persona 3, and Persona 4. Persona 2 Innocent Sin PSP. Dang, that's a pretty good cover for what they did at the time. Interesting. Persona 5 in 2016. What type of So this is a Japanese type game publisher. Interesting. I'm actually liking this. Interesting. I have seen this art stuff before, but I didn't know this was Persona. I guess it was a little bit too hokey because due to the interesting information of these. Yeah, the hardest part is every time I do see a lot of these like the settings of the game and such, it is I don't know. I just think the style and the environment I was looking at the time wasn't my favorite. It just seemed too hokey at the time, or maybe it was just me. But yet again, I wasn't really. I never paid attention to every video game. It's not like back in 2017 when I heard someone say they had a game called VR Chat, and I looked at it and it was a bunch of people just playing a game that it's just you going around the world collaborating with people and then they have fun. And I made a comment about sometime during 2018 when I saw a game and I just said, oh man, this is boring. I watched a live stream video and they said it was just a lot of crazy stuff, but I guess I wasn't into it until 2 years later in 2019 when I heard of Outfox Gaming and his big hamburger country nice video, and then Rose Doodle came along, and then those other people in 2020, and then in 2021 after the end of the year a lot of them split off. I started watching Chromia and such, but and at the end of the day, Lolathon, Sugar Cube, dang, those people were good. Even Globable, like dang, like those were great people. Like why did they quit? Like why did they disappear out of the face of the universe by 2021? During the start of 2022, because later in 2022 is when I first heard Shy Willie and I started getting into VTubers and such. So I guess this is the same thing as Persona. I guess I just never got into it, but now I'm starting to like it a lot more by looking at it. Persona 5 Tactical, Persona 3 Reload, and The Phantom X. Interesting. I don't know if I'm going to like this series, but yeah, again, I guess it's just me not liking it the first time. It's not like the first time I heard Jacksepticeye for the first time and how he had a loud mouth voice. He looked like a 5-year-old kid stuck inside a grown-ass man's body for the first time, because every time the first videos you see of his Happy Wheel video, it's just him whoosh, top to the morning laddies with a high voice and screaming like he's like a kid from a friggin' Psycho Award. But at the end of the day, when you get to see more of his videos, he's just a normal guy just having fun. So I guess at the end of the day, a lot of us humans have to get used to that. Once in a while, we don't like it, but then we look at it closely and we start enjoying it. So yeah, Persona, I'm going to have to look at that later in the future. But yeah, that's what Captain Spider Fan 19 said. He said it's a great show, like he said, and I did comment to him stating, well, I didn't comment him, but someone else named Hunter Styles 651 replied to him 3 hours ago stating, "There's something emblematic, what type of word is that? Emblematic? About the fact that this comment section contains a Persona fan labeling Persona as a show as the meme goes. Don't be too hard on Persona 5 fans. They'll never play the game." Well, he's not wrong. I haven't heard of the game until now, looking it up right now in the podcast, and I'm starting to like it a little bit. So yeah, who knows? By the way, 12 hours ago, this guy named JJHut6933 comment, "What the F is this?" And all I was going to say to him is, this is a podcast of me reviewing the Avatar. What more do you want? But yet again, a lot of people don't reply to my comments, so who cares? I just didn't care. But yeah, at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, people can say, like Captain Spider Fan said, it's a great show, but yet again, but here's the fact. Does Captain Spider Fan 19 ever saw the cartoon before seeing the film and the Netflix? Or has he seen the Netflix before not even watching the cartoon? Has he ever seen the cartoon before? I don't know if he does. But yet again, my point is, and I'm sorry for wasting time talking for the first maybe 10 minutes of me not talking about this, because it's me looking up what Persona is, but yet again, who am I to blame myself for talking too much? I love margaritas. But yeah, guys, the reason that I made this podcast is not because I'm not saying the show is bad, but I'm trying to push that out to the open to give people a heads up that let's not overdo stuff that fans are going to hate. Like, sure, guys, I understand. Like, I know some people in the comments and other people are going to say, we're never going to see Aang and Katara penguin sliding on penguins like we saw in the first episode of season one. They're not going to do that in the Netflix, and they're not going to do it in the movie. They don't want to turn to a hokey craziness. We understand that. Guys, I did enjoy the fourth episode of the end of the Netflix when they did the rendition of him and Boomy, of Aang and Boomy, or Aang, which I love saying that more. Them sliding down at the end, and then you hear my cabbages, which was a great send off to end the episode. So I did enjoy them doing that. So it's great that they brought in some of the stuff that we knew about the cartoon show. I wouldn't say don't overdo it, but it's great that they brought some of that in. Like, I understand if they're going to put in some new ideas, I understand, but if you put in those ideas that never fit into the cartoon, it's just going to interrupt the storyline confusingly. Because, guys, we never saw Jet or his freedom fighters anywhere near, you know what I'm talking about. We never seen Jet or the freedom fighters near the town or the Earth Kingdom of Boomy. We never seen that. We never did. And yet you see scenes of episode 3 with him and Katara talking in the woods like they're like 2 miles or a mile away from King Boomy's place. Like, what? That makes no sense. It doesn't. And guys, I even tried to follow the cartoon episodes to see if the Avatar ever traveled any closer to any other location after they left the Earth Kingdom in season 1 before they got back to, I think it was season, wait, let me look up Avatar Last Airbender. I'm just going to look up the episodes again because I might forget, but at the end of the day, guys, I don't want to confuse the audience, but this is something that gets confused. Now, the people that haven't seen the cartoon show before, but they saw the Netflix before the cartoon, might not think anything bad about it. But guys, episode 5 of the cartoon is the King of Omashu. Not bad. Fair enough, right? Okay, well, that's good enough. But then in episode 6, we do Imprison, which was another good episode I enjoyed. And then we did that part 1 and part 2 of the Winter Solace, the Spirit World, and the Avatar Roku thing in episode 7 and 8. And then episode 9, the Waterbending Scroll, which was another fun episode. And then we go to episode 10, which was Jet. So we had to wait 5 more episodes. Like, after episode 5 of King of Omashu, we had to wait another 5 episodes to get to episode Jet. It's like, if episode of the King of Omashu in the cartoon show was episode 5 and episode 6 was, instead of Imprisoned, it would have been Jet, I would have been like, okay, that's fair enough, because episode 5 was King of Omashu and episode 6 was Jet, which would have made more sense, because it's like, oh, the next episode's Jet, so they must have went into the woods after they left Omashu. But no, we had to wait 5 episodes. The 4 episodes we saw before Jet was in prison, like I said before, when Katara had to convince all the Earthbenders and such, which was a lot better than the movie of the 2009 movie of how they had to convince the Earthbenders to attack on the Fire Nation because they were surrounded by dirt and rocks. Lol. And then we had to get to the Winter Solace part 1 and part 2 of episode 7 and 8. And then we had to go to the Waterbending Scroll in episode 9 because Katara didn't know how to do the waterbending thing. She was jealous of Aang doing good. And then we had to get to episode 7 where we meet the Freedom Fighters. So Yeah, for what reason, I am a little bit surprised by that, but yet again, I am a little bit questioned. Like, guys, it's just crazy. And guys, let's not talk about episode 17, the Northern Air Temple, where we met the guy that made the Fire Nation blimp with him and Sokka. It's like, was there a point for them to even be in King Omashu in the first place, even though in the cartoon we saw them in the Northern Air Temple in episode 17 of season 1, one episode before the Waterbending Master, and then the last two episodes were the Siege of the North, like before the season finale? Was there a point for that? I don't know. What am I supposed to do? It's just, I'm just saying, guys. Like, guys, it is hard to make 8 episodes of a 40 to 1 hour episodes of 8 episodes of the Avatar The Last Airbender of Netflix, even though the cartoon show had 20 episodes in each season. Well, season 3 has 21 episodes, but that doesn't matter. But still, it is hard to make 8 episodes, even though when you're trying to cram up a lot of information from each episodes. And I understand that. But guys, I really did enjoy some of the moments that I enjoyed. Guys, it is hilarious that not just the 2009 movie had a lot of interesting things that I kind of enjoyed, and they did something similar to the Netflix, as Netflix did something similar to the movie. Because, guys, here's something that finds it interesting. Guys, we never get to know about Father Lord Ozai or anything about Zuko and his scar until the middle part of the season, where we have Iroh talking to the entire group, excuse me, telling everyone the story of how Zuko got his scar. And then he tells a story, this or that, and then we hear Zuko's father, Ozai, burning his face. I will say, though, the Netflix did a lot of a crazier job than they expected. And seeing the trailer for him shooting fire into Zuko, and it almost looks like it's burning his face, but it's just him blocking it when you watch the episode, but they never show us the part of him burning his face. Like, guys, like I said before, Netflix and the movie itself would have been more violent of a film, but should have kept in some humor for the fun of it. I'm not saying it, they should have, but still, there was some decency for what they did, and the Netflix did a good job. But guys, that would be the only time we would ever get to see Lord Ozai or even his voice in season 1. But in the movie, the 2009 movie, and the Netflix decides to put Father Lord Ozai in the picture a lot more, even though we never get to see who he was in season 1. Now, and they do show us moments of what his side of the version is and what he does while him and Zuko are planning what Zuko and his uncle and what Avatar is doing in his group are doing, trying to look around and trying to see if they can actually do whatever they're doing. And Ozai is following around doing this or that in the Netflix version, and we get to see Azula. The only time we get to see Azula in the movie was during the end of the final seconds, because they did that reference of where we saw Azula. And by the way, Azula was in the flashback story with Iroh talking about the story, and which, well, technically that doesn't matter. But yeah, they did that. The movie just did the reference in the cartoon film, but in Netflix, they decided to put Azula in the picture a lot. And it's like, I'm not saying it's bad. Like, yeah, it's actually pretty good. They did, but yet again, it's season 1. Like, in season 1 of the cartoon show, we never get to see who they are until season 2. And Father Lord Ozai, we don't get to know him much in season 2 until we have the episode of Zuko having his dreams and his flashbacks of his childhood, and some of the moments we get to see of Ozai, of who he was, and the moments we already know. But still, And then in season 3, we get to know him a lot more. But still, nonetheless, like, I'm just surprised that Netflix and the movie did put in a lot of Ozai. Well, not a lot of Ozai, but still, knowing him and his own. Like, I love that stuff they did. They said, oh, what would Ozai say if we did had him in season 1? And I enjoyed that. The stuff I didn't enjoy about the movie is like when, like I said before, when Zhao actually told Ozai about the moon spirit. It's like, again, so General Zhao goes to the library where we have the Owl Man, which he was never in season 1, but Netflix assumes that he was because they were in the spirit world. Duh. Which I did mention that in the video I made 2 days ago. But still, having Zhao saying that he went to the library in the desert where the Owl Man is, and he tells Ozai about the moon spirit and this or that, and then you have Ozai like that scene doesn't make sense. Why would you ever tell the prince about this whole fact? Because that would almost make Ozai giving all the credit to himself for coming up with that idea, even though Zhao was the one that would have came up with it. Because in the cartoon show, Zhao, we never think that Zhao ever told Ozai that he was going to kill the moon spirit fish in the northern water tribe. There's no reason for that. It just, the story and the scene was good, but it made no sense. The storyline made no sense. And guys, it's even funny that in the end of the film, Ozai also said that Susan's comment is gonna come in 3 years. Dude, like, I'm even more interested to know what the second script was for the second movie and to know how they were going to cover that up, because at this moment Aang has all the years to start training for all the elements. And it's funny, and who knows what they would have done if they would have been like, oh, wait a minute, in the third film they later realize, wait, Susan's come is not coming in 3 years, it's coming now than later. It's, I'm even curious to know what they would have done, but it's crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of moments in the movie that they've done that was hilarious, and it was goofy. And I'm not gonna explain about how the Fire Nation killed the air temples and all the airbenders in the air temple in the movie, even though they killed them all, considering they never knew how to create fire from their hands. They had to witness Iroh making fire out of nothing in the northern air temp in the northern water tribe during almost the end of the only film of the Avatar they did. Like, oh boy, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, the physics were great, but you know what would have made it a lot interesting? If they did have Aang learning how to waterbend. Don't get me wrong, like I said before, I love that the movie had Katara teaching Aang to waterbend before they went to the water tribe. But in the Netflix version, they decided to just say, hey, let's just go to the water tribe and just do this. But like I said before, guys, like I said in my last chapter I did a couple of days ago, or I just released a couple of days ago, for reasons why, who knows? Like, I don't know. I don't know, but at the end of the day, there is a lot of things we have to learn. What are we going to see in season 2? I don't know. But yet again, there's a lot. There's a lot. And by the way, guys, there is one more thing I like to point out, and I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna find the videos in the comments right now. So just give me a second here, because I got to. Because guys, as I was making this video for my podcast, which was interesting because keep this in mind, guys, as I said, I did do a couple episodes like 8 months ago in February during the start of this, and I found an interesting comment that was released to me around the time when I released it, and this totally blinded me. So after I uploaded my second chapter called Is Netflix Avatar The Last Airbender Any Good?, which was also the reason why I made my third title Bad, but yet again, who knows what I'm going to name this title. This guy in the comments made an interesting thing, and I'm going to read through it all as best I can. So this guy named Lawrence Tyreni 3697, apologize if I said your name wrong there. He commented, and this was an interesting thing when he said, I have been a fan of the Avatar series for years, and I just recently rewatched the animated version prior to watching the live action remake. Here's my opinion. Pros. The action scenes are visually well done, and I do like that. I do like that. Two, there is more backstory given to Jen Iroh and Prince Zuko. And which that's it. Three, the casting for the primary characters seems to be well done, especially for Jen Iroh. Now, he's not wrong. Prince Zuko and Iroh, the stories are good. Guys, it doesn't matter what characters you put in, it's good. Don't get me wrong, guys. The actor that portrayed Zuko in the 2009 movie did what he tried to do. He did his good job. He did the best he could. He was just involved with the stupidest director from the country of India that didn't know how to make a good movie because he was that much of an idiot. He was like a Vince Russo of WCW and WWE, a guy writer that didn't know how to make wrestling bigger again after he failed hard in WCW. And if you don't know who Vince Russo is, or the story about him in WCW in 2000 with him and Eric Bischoff, or his battles with him and Jim Cornette, if you guys aren't wrestling fans, believe me, maybe I'm not going to explain it to you. But that's what the director realized. Like, guys, the director that made the 2009 film, oh boy, was like a rendition of just making crap intentional, even if he didn't know it was crap from the start. It was like, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But yet again, I enjoyed it for what it was. Don't get me wrong. The scenes of Prince Zuko and Iroh, whether any actor portrays them, it's going to be a good story. And I love the film of the movie where they did had him and Iroh, even though they didn't make it as good as they did. There were some good scenes that they did try to make them together. But yet again, the Netflix did better than the film. Let's be honest. Also, like I said about this YouTuber in the comments, 3697, he also, those were the only things he talked about that were good. Then he says cons, which is the bad. Number one, due to the necessity of combining several of the animated episodes storylines into one of the live action episodes, the storyline seemed I hated this, convoluted, and the fans of the animated series, this will be very obvious and in some cases insulting. Which he's not wrong, because there were some moments I didn't enjoy, but you know what? It is what it is. And he also always says the word and. Love it. Two, the casting of several of the secondary characters. I hate this one. How did I completely forgot about this? In particular, Princess Azula, which makes sense why she was in the Netflix, and her two friends. Why did 3697, why did you said May's name as pronouncing it M-I-A? It's M-A-I, May. Azula and her two friends, May and Ty Lee, I found the live action Azula not to be as intimidating as her animated counterparts, which he's not wrong, but this is season 1, so we don't get to know her full potential until season 2. So maybe this Azula character will do better in season 2. So I won't insult that. But he's not wrong. And the physical resemblance, especially for the characters May and Ty Lee, was not there. Which he's not wrong, because they were never there until season 2. The animated May is tall and thin. Ty Lee is lean and athletic, while both live-action actresses were short and dumpy. This may be due to the costuming of the characters, and if that is the case, then is it a fault of the production staff? The physical appearance of the characters lends support to their personalities and storylines. This is not there in the live action version. In the case of Princess Azula, she comes across as a spoiled rich child looking for daddy's approval, while in the animated version, if you look at the character's eyes, you can see a hint of the insanity and lust for power that she craves. This just does not come across in the live action version, at least not yet. I'm going to get to number 2 for May and Ty Lee in just a minute. Overall, the live action version is not bad. However, if you are a fan of the animated version, the glaring mistakes and convoluted storylines far overshadow any of the special effects and diminish the live action version. Those people who have never seen the animated version will find this series enjoyable. However, I would suggest that they watch the original animated version, which of course is far superior. And that's the main reason why I'm trying to tell you people, like I just said in the beginning part, guys, like I just said, if people have seen the live action, the Netflix, before seeing the cartoon, then you would think this is actually very good if you haven't seen the cartoon before. And at the end of the day, I don't blame the people, because at the end of the day, not all of us are perfect. So a lot of us, it is what it is. Believe me, I get the understanding, and there is a reason for it. Like, guys, a lot of people love listening to hip hop and rap music on YouTube, and then when YouTube reactors start reacting to what AC/DC is in their 30s with their wife and their husband doing a reaction video of who AC/DC, who Slipknot, who the Swedish rock band Ghost is, it makes you wonder, dang, this stuff is really good, because they were listening to rap music or hip hop. And there are some people out there like myself that listened to country music as a child, a little bit of hip hop, well, a lot of hip hop if it's Lady Gaga and Katy Perry and Bruno Mars, and mostly all rock, heavy metal, rock and roll and such. I don't even know much about Tupac Shakur. If I ever wanted to do a video of reacting to Tupac Shakur and such and not knowing who he is, even though the only time I ever heard of rap is Eminem, because Eminem's the only person I've ever rapped to, then at the end of the day, I might as well say, hey, let's find the understanding of why people love Tupac Shakur and what his story about life is and what's thug life. It's worth a shot. My point is, guys, a lot of us people don't watch these things in our life. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube that are in their 20s and 30s that don't even know what Avatar The Last Airbender is. And there's a lot of us people that don't even ever watched who Leslie Nielsen and the Naked Gun movies are. And hell, guys, the only time I ever saw the Naked Gun movie is number 1. I never saw the shows or even the other movies they made. Dang. And I'm 26 years old, and the only time I ever saw the Naked Gun movie is the first movie. And that's the only thing my childhood watched. Small world. But at least I've seen the Airplane movie. Classic. But my point is, guys, there's a lot of people out there that don't see all these things. So it is what it is. The second thing I like to point out is that, guys, this is the main reason why I do say that Netflix and other movies doing cartoon films in real life reality films like this are really hard, because you got to dress up like the character from the cartoon show, which is like cosplay. And guys, I'm not saying that cosplay is bad, but guys, I go to a lot of places in my life, or I watch a lot of videos on YouTube of conventions of TwitchCon, AnimeCon, BronyCon, and there's a lot of people that dress up in great costumes to look like their character. But sometimes those anime characters are skinny, while you'll find one character that looks like he grown a big tummy. That doesn't look like him. Hell, you'll see a guy that looks like Mario, which he's buffed. Not like Mario's buff, but you get what I mean. That guy doesn't look like Mario. So you have two actors that are supposed to portray the character of May and Ty Lee, and like the guy stated, they're short and dumpy, while in the animated series, May is supposed to be tall and thin, with Ty Lee being athletic. but you see them short, which makes you wonder what's the point. And what also doesn't make the point is, guys, is that they were never involved in season 1 of the show to begin with. Believe me, guys, the Avatar The Last Airbender, May and Ty Lee were never involved in the first season because there's no reason. So why do we have these idiotic people that were working on this Netflix show decided to say, hey, let's put May and Ty Lee in? There's no point of them putting them in. Putting these two short, dumpy characters that don't look anything like them, cosplaying cartoon characters that don't even fit the script. They don't even look like the characters, and they don't even belong in season 1 because in the cartoon show they never even went to be involved with Azula's team. Guys, I'm going to be really confused of what season 2 is going to be because, guys, hear me out. Season 2, guys, this is what I want you viewers to do. And guys, even though I'm supposed to record 30 minutes of this topic, and I'm already over 6 minutes right now, and we're 9 minutes before the 1 hour mark, so I'm going to go through this as quick as I can. Guys, season 2 of the Avatar The Last Airbender, which is book 2, Earth, because Aang has to learn earthbending, and I hope to God he does, but I hope to God he also learns waterbending with Katara in the first episode, which I hope so. Keep this in mind, guys. Season 2 of episode 1 is going to be the Avatar state, which is them going to the building where the guy is trying to see if he could get Avatar into the state, and he also puts his friends in danger. And then episode 2 is the Cave of Two Lovers, which the whole Avatar team and a bunch of musical hippie rock bands are playing music, which, I love that episode. That was awesome. And then they get protected by badger moles. Classic. And then episode 3, the return to Omashu, which, oh my gosh, May and her family are there in the first episode of episode 3. They've taken over Omashu. What a catastrophe. And oh my gosh, Earthbenders are going to kill their family. Avatar Aang saves May and her brother Tom Tom and her family and attacks them. Oh my gosh, oh dude, this is crazy. Oh, what a catastrophe. Unbelievable. And guess what? Azula and the two, creepy old ladies are telling them that they need backup to capture Zuko and the others because their missions aren't to capture the Avatar. They're trying to capture Zuko. So she decides to hire her two friends, Ty Lee and May. Guys, in episode 3 of season 2, Azula meets Ty Lee when she was doing in the circus, but she didn't want to be involved with Azula's crazy plans until Azula decided to go to see her performance, and we already know what happened. They burn the net down, they do all this or that, scare her friend into leaving the circus, which was success. They go to Omashu to find May and success, and that's how the three of them met. And then their family realized that Tom Tom was kidnapped or taken by Momo, and well, that's how they did this or that. So yeah, I don't know what season 2 of Netflix is going to show us because at the end of the day, we never get to see Ty Lee or May in season 1. So what's the point of taking these two dumbass ladies that had no business being there, not even cosplayed right? And guys, I'm not saying that cosplay is bad, but this is what makes it hard if you're trying to impersonate. This is almost like being back in the old days when actors back in the days had a rule to say that you can't be over 6 pounds, because if you're over 6 pounds or if you've lost 6 pounds, your contract is not like, guys, do you remember back in the old days where Hollywood used to give those information of people that, oh, you're not allowed to do this, oh, if you eat too much food you get big or something, like they give scripts to, like, I forgot that story, I forgot about that Hollywood actress that owned a restaurant, but then she went back home, but they actually found her dead inside a garage door with a car engine running. I forgot what that episode was. It was part of BuzzFeed Unsolved. It was season Uh, I think it was season. I think it was season 5 question mark or something like that. Like I don't know. Uh, I think it was like let me find the episode. Man, it's this is so annoying for me looking this information up. What was that episode? Oh brother, where's the episode? Season 6. Oh brother. Yes, season 6, episode 3. Thelma Todd. You know the information of Thelma Todd and how she passed away, which was the information which stated that she can't go overweight or underweight or else she'll be out of the contract. So she had to eat peas and such for the rest of her life and something like that, which was oh man, guys, back in those days, Hollywood was crazy. Can you imagine if you talked to the voice actor or the, I mean, not the voice, what I meant to say is, guys, can you viewers, if, guys, can you imagine if you have a director behind the scenes talking to Katara, the woman cosplaying for season 1, you tell her that you're not gonna eat so much food, you're gonna be like Katara, you're gonna do this or that. Guys, just to let you viewers know, the TV show of the Avatar, The Last Airbender animated series did a lot of crazy stuff back in the day that I was shocked because it stated that during each season, the Avatar and the cartoon characters were losing weight. Like it's like in the first episodes, you see them fully energized and such. They're not overweight, but they're not over skinny. And then you see them in season 2 episode 10, the library, and episode 11, the desert, you see how Katara and the other group are skinny, like they've lost weight. It almost seems like they're more skinnier by the minute. Can you imagine if you ever tell the actors that you're gonna lose weight just to make the story interesting? Dude, that would be so messed up. And I hope some of you viewers in the comments are following what I'm talking about. Can you imagine if you tell them that we're gonna find another May and another Ty Lee to take over your spots because we have to find characters that look like them in the cartoon show? Can you imagine how hard that's gonna be? Because now those people that look like them, how do we know that they're gonna start acting like them? Have they ever even seen the cartoon shows before? That's actually 10 times of a bigger problem. You're going to have to find actors that look like them, but they also have the body, but they also have the brains to act like the characters in the cartoon show. It's hard to find those things. Guys, it's almost like creating a rock and roll band where you have a good singer, a good guitar player, but sometimes you don't have a good bass player or a good drummer. So sometimes the album is going to be good. Like one day your album is going to be rated in the Billboard 200 at number 178, which was like, oh, it's an okay album, but sometimes the rockin' beats, the bass beats are not there. Guys, it's almost like Rage Against the Machine, the rock band. Like Rage Against the Machine was a great band back in the days, and they had a lot of um, great musicians that were so good back in the day. Like they were so good, and I do feel bad that they had to disband this year in 2024, which was like their whole 5-year career because I heard they retired again this year in January. But their band members like Racha, Morello, Wilk, and Comfort, like they were great musicians. And even though not all band members, you can't find every band member like that. But it's almost like the band Audioslave because after Rage Against the Machine, they met Chris Cornell, the guy from Soundgarden. It's like one of the band members once stated. You can find one or two good band members that could do good, but if you don't find every good band member that can make good music, it's not going to be a good album. But when you put all members together, like great good singer like Chris Cornell and the members of Rage Against the Machine, you turn them into Audioslave and you listen to the first album, damn, like the combination of that is so good. It's like it's hard to find that. So it's the same thing as Avatar The Last Airbender, where you have people in Netflix cosplaying these characters. But the thing is, even if they have the body and the shape and the physique of doing crazy stuff and pretending that they're actually in battle for real, you gotta wonder how good is their acting. So that's the problem when I watch this stuff. And guys, when I'm looking at this close enough, like looking at these characters of May and Tai Lee on picture right now, I'm like, oh boy, this is bad. This is bad. Like it's so bad. Like it. Like, guys, if you want to know what tall and thin is and what athletic is for May and Ty Lee, let's look up a few photos. Like, guys, let me look it up. May and Ty Lee. Like, let's talk about it. May and Ty Lee. So, guys, the photos don't lie. Like, you have Ty Lee that has this great physique. She has this athleticism. She has dangerous knockout power. Maybe not dangerous than Mike Tyson, but dangerous enough. Like, they have this great look, this great clothes, outfit. Look, and she has a great, funny persona. And I'm looking at the photo here, and she has this great curly, this amazing, like, whatever you call it. This, I'm not a woman. I don't know how to tie my hair. I have short hair, but yeah. And you see the actor in this Netflix, and it's like, well, yet again, I it just seems out of it. And then you see May as tall, lean and thin as it is, and she has this look of being a character that's not happy. Like she's a character that's actually, like she really born with a family that she was an only child for the last several years of her life, for a decade before they met Tom Tom, and yeah, it was hard. It really was hard. That you see May's character, it seems interesting, but then you look at the photo of the Netflix, it's this is the worst. Like, I look at the body. Like, look at the body. Let's look at Tylee's body and the looks of it. Like, Tylee's body, she's out there. She has, like I said before, she's a circus freak. Well, don't take that out of context, all right? Don't take that out of context. Like I said before, she seems like a powerful, dangerous antagonist. She has, she has a great sense of humor. Even her body portion, like she's not tall, but still, that's great. And like, let's look at May. Like, what does May does have? Like May's body, like she has this great. For Zuko. I'm gonna save that image and put that. I'm gonna put that on my screen for later. Anyway, I think that's the end of the podcast. What do you viewers think? Okay, yes. No, guys, I think that's gonna be the end of the podcast for today. Thank you, viewers, for watching this episode, and what am I supposed to say now? Guys, all I can say is this. All I'm saying, guys, is that I'm not saying that cosplay is a bad thing. It's not. If people get to cosplay their favorite characters, even if they don't look like their characters, even if they don't have the same build or the same face or same this or that, it's okay. But yes, we're just having fun. That's good. We're all having fun. We're going to conventions. We're just being ourselves. We're not acting like the characters. We're just having fun. If we're going to TwitchCon or AnimeCon, PAXCon or this, we're just having fun. But if you're acting in a TV show like Netflix, Avatar The Last Airbender, you got to perform your character like the way you are in the cartoon show and the way it is. You don't want to upset the fans because of this. And guys, May and Ty Lee in the Netflix of season 1, this is the worst. I don't know what they're going to do for season 2. And guys, the reason I'm making these episodes about the Avatar is I don't want this thing to die. I want the Netflix of Avatar to make it to 3 seasons. That's all I want to do. And I want to see that. So I wish them best of luck in the future. Because, guys, I'm still looking up Avatar as of right now, as if they still have it, because the TV series right now, Because, guys, as they're doing it right now, the series was renewed for a second and third season, as in March of 2024. And like I said before, the gamer mixed reception from critics have had them a little bit surprised. So I will be anxious to see what we're going to see in season 2 because I really want to see this. And I'm still trying to find updates on when they're going to do that. So I wish them best of luck in the future, and we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching this podcast. And with that being said, Foxwolf, out.